Hi, in this video, I would like to show you how SP sessions can help you identify different problems that a DBA face on day-to-day basis. I will focus on three problems. One is MAXDOP throttling by resource governor. If you have implemented a resource governor, you can identify if a query is throttled by this, or someone writing or running a query that has a query hint with MAXDOP options. So you can see how and why it is running slower, and you can troubleshoot that. Let's focus on the first one, and then second, I will identify, blocking with a transaction isolation level sometime cause a blocking, which is difficult to identify. You can identify blocking, but why it's happening is difficult to identify. Third, I would like to show you how the long-running store procedures can be difficult to identify which part of the store proc that is running and how long it's been running for and the execution plan. So let me jump into the demo. I will focus on MAXDOP throttling first. So let me go this particular connection. I am using a particular user which is throttled by the resource governor. Okay, so I am running this load. Now this load is running, and as soon this load start running, we'll see, okay, it's running bunch of select statements and the waits are happening. Great. But we would like to understand, hey, what's the MAXDOP setting that is being affected for this particular these particular threads. And if you see, we are using a resource governor and resource governor workload called SSRS reporting, and then it's been throttled down to 2, while the server has maximum of 6 cores on this server. So, and the default value for is 0, means it can utilize all 6, and I can just show you that. So give me a second. Maximum degree of parallelism is 0, but it's being utilizing 2 MAXDOPs, and that can be good or bad. Sometimes if you have resource governor implemented and a particular workload is running slow and you are troubleshooting it, it's very important to identify that, why they've been running slow. That's this one I wanted to show you with SP sessions. It will be easier for you to identify this scenario. Let's run the same query without resource governor throttling it using another session, and you will see it will complete within 6 seconds or so. And we will see whether this query 63, how much CPU this one got. 63. We can pass in 63 here and just focus on 63 session, and we can see it's already completed. It's in sleeping state. What was the maximum MAXDOP setting? And it was 6 cores it utilized. Great. So this way we can identify if MAXDOP is being throttled by a resource governor or not. Second option is when user can write option MAXDOP. Let's say we call this thing 3, and we run this same query. Okay, now run with 3 MAXDOP option, and because it's the same query, it will most likely will take 3 MAXDOP sessions, and you can see that is correctly reflecting it, and you can see this, it's been throttled by something other than the default setting of MAXDOP. Great, that's all I wanted to show in this particular session for MAXDOP. Second, let me stop the query and all the sessions that are running for this. And then we'll focus on the next, which is identifying blocking that's caused by transaction isolation level. So I am going to create a setup. Okay, we'll create a database called blocking demo. I will provide all these files. So here we go. The first error, that's fine. What's wrong? Could not drop object because it's being utilized. Okay, got it. That's fine. I will provide you this, that it creates the database, it creates these objects and inserts the data. Once the data is created, let's go. We will create 3 sessions. Okay. Okay, session 2, session 3, session 1. All right, so in session 1, I will be running a transaction with repeatable reads. And while this is running, we will go to session 2 and run another statement, which is updating it. And then on the third one, I will be deleting the some data on the same objects. Yes, the transaction is broken. That's fine. Let's rerun it, reconnect, and rerun this thing. Okay, while all these 3 are running, let's take a look how this whole thing as a DBA, once it's been said, hey, the transaction is running slow, our server is running slow, can you please take a look? And you go in, you take a look at the blocking, and you can see, hey, there's a lead blocker going on, and there are 2 sessions that are being blocked. But why they've been blocked? And you may start looking at what logs has been doing. So execute sp lock, and you can look into that, like 55, what kind of lock is holding, or you can use another function that I provided for locks. And those are good things to look at, but it will be still very difficult for you to identify why this blocking is going on. Yes, the resources are hold for longer period of time, but why? And that why is pretty simple to identify. If you look at the session, always look at what transaction isolation level this transaction or session is using. Repeatable transaction isolation level will cause heavy blocking and should be used cautiously, or minimal transactions only for that period of time we should use it. Okay, that's all I wanted to show in this particular session. The next one, I would like to show how to identify long-running proc. Okay, long-running procedures. Let me just stop this for now. So let me roll back this transaction. After rolling back this transaction, we can see that, yeah, it's completed. Great. Let me just start as a particular store procedures, long-running store procedures. So I will be providing this script. You can see I am going to create these store procedure in AdventureWorks. Any AdventureWorks version that you have, you can use this and create these store procs. After creating these store procs, I will be running a long-running procedure. I will be running these procedures. 1 second. Okay. In this particular case, when we'll run these long-running store procedures, I wanted to mention a couple of things, that these store procs are meant to create delays and they are not very efficient. I'll list it down. These, first store proc master will wait for 5 seconds and then call other store procedures. Those create few reports. Basically, they generate some sales and analysis reports and will cause some delay. Purposefully put down the MAXDOP setting to 1. Loop join is used and some of the other techniques to slow down the processing. This may depend on, how much slowdown it is. It all depends on your machine. If you have a very powerful machine, it may still be very quick. All right, so let's demo this thing. So we will run, this master long running store procedure. And now while this is running, let's take a look as a DBA when you come in and say, okay, what's going on? Why the sessions are running slow? You just run SP sessions, and you can run any other versions of SP Hutu that you like. You can see in this particular case, okay, the session ID 60 right here is running some kind of a select statement. And what was the DBCC input buffer? The DBCC input buffer shows, okay, this is the command that was run. And if you recall, that's the command we ran on this session right here. Okay, that's that. Let's go to look at what is running as of now. So it is running this, it has multiple store proc in it, right? So it is running the second store procedure. In the second store procedure, it is running this particular CTE, and you can click on it. You can see what is running, and then you can always find out what transaction isolation level is being utilized, what type of waits are happening. You can see the schedule waits are happening right now, and you can see logical reads and how much memory is granted for this particular query or are requested by. How long it's been running is another area. So remember, this particular duration is not meant for DBCC input buffer. It is meant for your batch. Okay, the last batch that is running, that's where the duration of wait is. So suppose you have 3 store procedures in our case embedded. So you have a master store procedure takes 10 minutes. Okay, and then this one takes 1 minute, and this one takes 5 minutes. Whichever the store proc is running, which is this guy is running as of now, you will see the duration, the first column duration, you will see it for that. But if you are interested in overall session time, then you need to go look at the end duration, login duration for this particular session. And basically it will be DBCC input buffer time. And you can always get the execution plan, but for execution plan, copy these 2 lines of code. Okay, and then you need to put it in, and then simply run this part and to get the execution plan. That's all I wanted to show in this particular video. Hopefully this is helpful.